Hello, good morning, everybody out there, and welcome to the Monday's edition of the newspaper review here on Newsbuster TV. My name is Jennifer Mosi, and it's great to have you here again this week. And as usual, we'll feed you through with the latest happenings and developments in the country and around the world. So I'll start with our local dailies here, and I've got with me here, I'll start with the Daily Independent, and the headline there says aviation technical personnel exit Nigeria to other climes. It's not very lucrative for them at this point. And the reasons there are the rider NCAA, NCAT, NAMA lose top staff to Jaguar syndrome. The grass is greener outside, obviously. And less than 400 ATCs for 32 airports. 100 retired in 5 years. Not very rosy there. So I guess, like I said, it's greener for them outside. So the Jaguar syndrome is not just for people in the health sector or educational sector. It's everywhere. So I will not advocate moving, but if you have to, I mean, it's your choice. And we see a couple of stories from that front page of the Daily Independent. It said on page 7, averted plane crash. Engines may have been tampered with, says an aide to Governor Adeleke, who was fortunate to escape an air disaster when one of the engines of the private plane he was to board caught fire. But usually, those kind of engine blockages are caused by some foreign material, maybe like birds especially, trying to nest in those engines, or they have been packed for a while and it's not being used. But whatever the case is, some inquiry might just be the right thing to do and launch to know the reason why that almost happened. All right, we see actor Jimmy Odukoya succeeds father as head of Fountain of Life Church, the late Pastor Taiwo Odukoya. That's also on page 7. Still on page 7, Serap sues Tinubu for not stopping Wike Umhai others their retirement pay. Should people who have moved from governorship and are retaining present ministerial posts still have access to retirement benefits as governors? Well, in these our climes, so many things are an anomaly, but we accept them as normalcy. But I know at some point in our history, we'll look back and say, oh, we're able to overcome such things. But right now, Serap, they're always bringing up cases. I've never really seen any go in their favor, but at least let's keep on having the awareness and knowing the right thing and the proper thing to do. All right, still from the Daily Independence front page, Tinubu appoints 2 more ministers. Yes, more details on that. Airstrikes destroy over 30 oil refining sites in rivers. That's on page 6. Also on page 6, Congo denies coup attempts. That was everywhere last night, but apparently it was just a ruse that did not take place. We also see Chief Justice of Nigeria to swear in 9 new appeal court justices on Wednesday, so it's going to be quite rowdy at the judiciary, but good rowdy, that kind of thing. And NLC's planned indefinite strike may take effect on Thursday, so everybody out there, just be prepared. All right, that's from the Daily Independent. I'll move on to the Vanguard this time. And from the front page there, above the masthead, federal government inherited 14 trillion naira debt over 2,600 road projects. That's coming from the Minister of Works, Umhai, but it's a party thing, so I guess they will know better how to solve it. That's on page 27. On page 25, Nigeria failed aviation safety audit. That's coming from an NCAT rector. That's why we're seeing planes, engines trying to catch fire. Anyways, moving on. Students visa, UK hikes fees for Nigerians and others on page 8. On the impeachment, purported impeachment move against Godswill Akpabio. Senators disagree over plots to remove Akpabio. That's on page 27. And on page 10, another bit of drama there. Obasanjo's stand-up order will respond at appropriate time. That's coming from the Oyo State Council of Obas. You must have heard about the former president being in a bit of ruckus with some traditional rulers at an event where he ordered them to all stand up to recognize his personality and presence. Well, I don't really know how things work out in that traditional sphere, considering he's also a chief or high chief. But I guess at some point people will disagree and come back to agree. Anyways, major story, anger as RMAFC defends jumbo pay of NAS members and others. That's the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Committee. And why is RAMFAC defending such huge monies? I mean, these are monies that are riling the average Nigerian to just hear those sums being called out. So why is this thing being so looked at as if it's special and there's nothing wrong in, you know, just a few hundreds of people getting some monies? Are they better than other Nigerians in other public spaces? That is what we are trying to wonder and go through. And Ankel Briggs, who is a social justice advocate, says it's disheartening, unjustifiable, unacceptable, and it's also heartless. That's coming from Ankel Briggs and also the Nigerian Labour Congress and NECA. And it is insensitive, says Labour Party. And Oro says, I support living wage for all. So with some pictures there of the headliners, Godswill Akpabio, the Senate President, Peter Obi of the Labour Party, and Adewale Smart Oyerinde, who's NECA's Director General. All right, and more stories from that front page. The Financial Vanguard says pension contributors, retirees agitate as a result, complaints pile up. It's always something on the pension matter. PENCOM, we have agencies that are meant to manage these issues effectively. But what's going on? Why is there always, you know, that non-alignment, you know, people not sticking to regular standards? It's not right that people give in active years of service, and at the end of the day, you still have to strive and fight to get what you should use and live calmly. It's really not fair. So PENCOM and PITAD, I think those are the people handling those matters, should please, and the other agencies, especially the Ministry of Finance, should look into these matters. All right, on page 8, the Unico sex scandal. Women Affairs Minister apologizes on behalf of that incident, that very unsavory incident. And on the proposed strike, the federal government has invited the Nigerian Labour Congress for a meeting today. So we'll look forward for the details of that meeting, hoping it will be better at the end of the day for all Nigerians. On page 6, Lagos downpour collapses building with 500 rooms. I don't really think that building has 500 rooms, but you know, the kind of building where so many facilities are used by multiple people, so many people cramped up in one living space. It all happened in Lagos State. So you might want to get more details of that story on page 6. And Tinubu nominates Jamila Ibrahim, Youth Minister, and the Minister of State for that ministry is Olawande. So you might want to find out more about them on page 9. And Nigerian boxers qualify for Paris 2024 Olympics. Good one on the sports scene. And also 1.1 trillion naira anchors borrowers fund bank chiefs risk arrest. Yes, when there's so much money, raw cash being thrown about, you can expect a lot of what's it called? You can expect, you know, a lot of funny drama in that scene. All right, moving on from the Vanguard is now the Nigerian Tribune. Or above the masthead on page 30, it says no university can survive without fees increment. That's coming from the Committee of Vice Chancellors. Tinubu nominates Ibrahim and Olawande as youth ministers. That's on page 30. And below the masthead, NLC agrees to meet federal government over indefinite strike. You can get that detail on page 19. And on page 21, saying EJN to swear in 9 appeal court justices on, here it's saying Wednesday. And I think, yeah, it's Wednesday all around, not Thursday. Still on page 21 on the Mambila claims, part of the country, and you know, border and land issues. Aguleye replies Obasanjo and says that claim is baseless. You can get that on page 21. And the big story from the Punch newspaper, as of August, there have been hikes in inflation rates, and companies may have to resort to downsizing. That's coming from the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry as a warning, and they want the government to remove tax on food items and urges the Central Bank of Nigeria to pause inflation rate hikes. I think those two warnings are quite timely, and that things the government might and the CBN might want to adhere to and actually do. Putting tax on food items, that's really high. I mean, we pay high enough indirectly for food items because of transportation and movement, and now our tax on food items, it's people might just have to starve their way out of the system. All right, you can get more of that on page 6 also. We see pictures there, and it says 150 houses destroyed in Plateau flood. You can read more of that on page 27. We're seeing water like, whoa, all over the streets and people wading through some areas. All right, on page 29, Osun government imposes curfew in 2 warring communities. I think they're always up to that in Osun State, is on page 29. And still on page 29, 2 injured as buildings collapse in Lagos. On page 30, NCAA commences probe into Adeleke's aborted flight incident. And there's a story there. It was quite disheartening when I saw that trending video where an Ondo commissioner was beaten and injured over subsidy palliatives. You can get that on page 30. And on page 8, more knocks for Obasanjo over humiliation of traditional rulers as the YCE and OK Ogun Group demand apologies. All right, stories from the Nigerian Tribune this morning. And I've got the Punch and the Guardian left, so I'll start with the Punch above the masthead. Umhai's presidency as contractors oppose concrete roads. Of course, concrete is not meant to be the main material for road building, so that is easily going to be worn down, and there must be some stronger and more durable material. So the Umhai is trying to talk with the presidency to increase material. Definitely that will result to costs of our contracts being increased. All right, we also see another one. We are on a track of complaints in the country. 12.5 kg cooking gas price may hit 18,000 naira in December. All right, Labour, federal government to meet today on post-subsidy talks. Please, that talk is, it's really, really needed at this time. That talk should take place. Let some sanity come into our economic space. And the big story there, marketers eye Fresh fuel price hike as crude hits $94. Definitely. They're buying it with Forex. We have to pay more in Naira. So I think we might all just have to tighten our belts tighter. NATO plans price hike raises concern over federal government's insistence on 617 Naira per liter petrol price. So it's definitely going to pump up, jump up. So guys, be ready to hear 650 Naira, 700 Naira a liter. Operators insist petrol subsidy returning gradually as the NNPCL gets new 3 VPs. All right. And another story there, NDLEA always in the news, doing a lot of good things to sanitize our social space as they rescue pregnant teenagers and arrest suspected drug traffickers. You can get those stories from page 5 of the Punch newspaper. Oyo Messi awaiting Makinde on new laughing. That's coming from Bashiru on page 7. And on pages 4 and 5, the two people have been hospitalized as 500-room Lagos building collapses. And Cardozo, that's the new central bank appointee as governor. National Assembly plans quick screening, private sector demands more reforms from that sector. You can catch that story on page 3 of the Daily Punch. All right, and I've got my last newspaper, which is The Guardian. And the big story is the main story there. CBN's top officials on tightrope as special investigation peaks. You can get that on page 6. There have been a lot of allegations, counter-allegations, investigations and happenings into what's been going on at the Central Bank of Nigeria, where some officials, some workers there, their salaries are even bigger than what people are complaining about that National Assembly members receive. So much scandal in this country, and it's actually makes you laugh sometimes because you think, do our leaders or people at the top think we can just be taken on the ride forever? But we need more awareness to bring these things out to the open. We deserve explanations. People who are representing us deserve to be accountable to us. If you can't do the job, you move on, and someone who's capable and ready will take over the reins. All right, we see a picture of the new CBN governor. Cardoso comes at the time when Naira is weak and inflation pushes households further into poverty. Is there any magic Cardoso can perform in his new position? We also see figures there depicted, and the percentage of inflation as of August last month rose up to 25.80%. I keep on seeing figures over time and you think it's the highest, but this is way out of limit. All right, Serap sues Tinubu over states' life perks for Wike and others. That's the pension story. It's on page 5. On page 6, Tinubu nominates Ibrahim Olawande as ministers, still keeps mum on El-Rufai's replacement. All right, we don't need recycling every other time. I think more people, fresher people, younger people should be able to be appointed to inject new ideas. And 19 years on, human rights languish amid African courts protocol. Not a lot there that has been done. United Nations General Assembly 78, under 78, only 15% of SDG targets are on track, says the UN. Beneficiaries complain as CBN moves to recover COVID-19 loans. Did you guys think it was the largest? No, you have to pay back. And Osun Governor Adeleke suspects sabotage after escaping airplane incidents. All right, and those are just some of the stories making the round in the country. We have more news available for you on our website at www.newsbusterng.com. And when you get there, you'll see things that will keep you informed, like really informed, and for you to know. And you can, I know you've watched this, so you can refer someone else to watch this on our YouTube channel. And when you do that and you refer someone, make sure you like and they like, share and subscribe. And check out our social media handles at NewsbusterNG on Twitter, X, and Facebook for all the news and all the developments and happenings. All right, I will be with you tomorrow, and as the week proceeds, on more newspaper reviews and doing it, in Newsbuster style. Do enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye.